Officer Mia was driving her patrol car down a quiet road at dawn when something unusual appeared in her headlights. A tiny German Shepherd puppy standing alone in the middle of the road. At first, she thought he was lost. But then the pup did something no one expected. He didn't run. He didn't bark. He walked straight toward her car, crying, pawing desperately at the door as if begging for help. Mia stepped out slowly, and the puppy grabbed her pant leg, tugging with surprising urgency. Whatever he wanted her to see, it wasn't simple. And when she followed him, her world changed. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The sky was still painted in shades of deep blue when Officer Mia began her early patrol. The world felt half asleep, streetlights flickering, distant rooftops silhouetted against the first hint of dawn. Her patrol car rolled steadily along the quiet highway, the hum of the engine the only sound breaking the morning silence. Mia took a slow breath, appreciating the peace. Nights like these were rare. But just as she rounded a bend, her headlights stretched across the road, revealing a tiny shape standing directly in her path. UNMOVING. Mia pressed lightly on the brakes, confused as her headlights sharpened the small shape ahead. It wasn't debris. It was alive. A tiny German Shepherd puppy stood in the center of the empty road, his fur ruffled by the cool morning breeze. He looked far too young to be alone, barely old enough to be away from his mother. Yet he didn't flinch, didn't run, didn't even glance around for safety. Instead, he stared straight at Mia's vehicle. Ears perked, eyes wide with desperation, as if he had been waiting for her and her alone. Mia slowed to a complete stop, expecting the puppy to dart away like any frightened animal would. But instead, he did something that made her breath catch. The tiny shepherd trotted straight toward the patrol car, tail low, body trembling. He lifted his paw and scratched at the door, whining softly, his eyes pleading. When Mia didn't move fast enough, he circled to the front of the car, barking sharply, urgent, desperate, insistent. This wasn't a lost puppy wandering aimlessly. He was trying to get her attention, trying to tell her something was terribly wrong. Mia pushed open her door slowly, careful not to startle the trembling puppy. The moment she stepped out, he rushed to her, tiny paws pressing against her uniform as he whimpered urgently. Hey. It's okay," she whispered, kneeling to his level. But the puppy wasn't looking for comfort. He grabbed the cuff of her pant leg with his teeth and tugged hard, glancing back toward the dark fields beside the road. Mia's heartbeat quickened. He wasn't asking for help. He was begging her to follow. The puppy released Mia's pant leg only long enough to race ahead a few steps, then stopped and looked back, barking sharply. His tiny body shook with urgency. Mia followed, her flashlight cutting through the dim morning haze. Each time she slowed, the pup darted back, circling her ankles before sprinting forward again. He guided her off the road, down a narrow dirt path hidden between tall grass and broken fence posts. The deeper they went, the stranger it felt. This wasn't random wandering. The puppy knew exactly where he was taking her. And why? As Mia followed the trembling puppy deeper into the brush, her flashlight revealed unsettling signs along the path. Fresh paw prints scattered across the dirt, some tiny like his, others larger and uneven. Beside them, long drag marks cut through the soil, as if something heavy had been pulled across the ground. Broken branches hung at odd angles, and clumps of disturbed earth suggested a struggle. The air felt heavier here, thick with the scent of damp soil and something faintly metallic. Mia's pulse quickened. Whatever happened wasn't an accident. And the puppy was leading her straight to it. The puppy suddenly stopped at the edge of an abandoned construction site, his tiny body shivering as he stared at a collapsed concrete slab. Mia's flashlight swept across twisted metal rods, broken boards, and piles of debris left untouched for years. Then she noticed it, a small dark opening beneath the rubble, just wide enough for a dog to crawl through. The puppy barked desperately, pawing at the gap before ducking halfway inside, then backing out again to urge her forward. Mia crouched down, heart pounding. Whatever lay beyond that entrance needed help fast. Mia dropped to her hands and knees, lowering herself toward the narrow opening. Cold air rushed out from the darkness, carrying a faint, pained whimper that froze her breath. She angled her flashlight inside, and her heart clenched. Trapped beneath a fallen beam lay an adult German shepherd, her sides rising in shallow, labored breaths. Dust coated her fur, and one leg was twisted unnaturally beneath the weight of the concrete. The dog lifted her head weakly, eyes glassy with exhaustion, yet pleading for help. The puppy squeezed beside Mia, crying and nudging his mother's face through the opening. Mia swallowed hard. This wasn't just an injured dog. This was a mother fighting to stay alive. For her puppy, the puppy squeezed himself into the narrow space beside his injured mother, his tiny body trembling as he pressed his nose to her cheek. He whimpered softly, nudging her again and again, refusing to let her slip into unconsciousness. The adult dog tried to lick him but lacked the strength, her breaths shallow and uneven. Mia's chest tightened as she watched the heartbreaking scene unfold. The puppy turned to her, eyes wide and shining with fear, letting out a desperate cry as if begging her to save the only family he had left. Mia knew she had seconds to act before hope faded. Mia grabbed her radio with shaking hands. "Dispatch, this is Officer Mia. I need immediate backup and rescue support at the abandoned Ridgeview construction site. One adult dog trapped under debris, critical condition." Her voice trembled despite her training. The dispatcher responded instantly, sending units her way. Mia crawled closer to the opening, speaking softly to keep the mother dog awake. "Hang in there, girl. Help is coming." Sirens soon echoed in the distance, growing louder until rescue trucks rolled into view. Firefighters rushed toward her with cutting tools, lights, stretchers, and medical kits. The puppy barked anxiously at every sound, pacing back and forth. Time was running out, and everyone knew it. The rescue team scanned the unstable structure, their faces turning grim. "If we lift the wrong beam, the entire slab could collapse," one firefighter warned. Mia felt her stomach tighten. The mother dog's breaths were growing weaker, her eyes fluttering as exhaustion pulled her under. The puppy cried frantically, pawing at her neck, desperate to keep her awake. "We don't have time," Mia urged. The team moved quickly, positioning hydraulic jacks and cutting tools around the debris. Sparks flew. Metal groaned. Every second felt like a countdown to disaster. Dust rained down as the slab shifted dangerously, the ground trembling beneath their feet. "Almost there," a firefighter shouted. But the mother dog's eyes began to close, and they all feared they were too late. Just as the final beam was being lifted, a deep crack echoed through the site. The structure above them shifted violently. "Get back," a firefighter shouted. Mia instinctively threw herself over the puppy, shielding his tiny body as chunks of concrete tumbled down. Dust exploded into the air, blinding everyone. For a terrifying moment, Mia couldn't breathe, couldn't see whether the mother dog had survived the collapse. The firefighters scrambled, reinforcing the supports before the entire slab gave way. When the dust finally settled, Mia lifted her head. The puppy wriggled free, shaking but unharmed. But the mother dog lay frighteningly still beneath the remaining rubble. The firefighters surged forward, working with renewed determination. "We've got one shot lift on my count," the captain ordered. Hydraulic jacks hissed, metal strained, and the final slab slowly rose just enough for a rescuer to crawl beneath. Mia held her breath as the man gently slid his arms under the mother dog's limp body. "I've got her," he yelled. Carefully, they pulled her out and laid her on a stretcher. The puppy immediately scrambled onto it, pressing his tiny head against her neck, whimpering nonstop. A paramedic checked her quickly. She's alive, weak but alive. Relief swept over the team. Mia felt her eyes sting. Against all odds, the mother had been saved. Because her puppy never gave up. At the animal hospital, a team of veterinarians worked urgently to stabilize the injured German Shepherd. Mia waited outside the treatment room with the trembling puppy curled in her lap, his tiny paws gripping her uniform as if afraid she might disappear. After what felt like an eternity, the lead vet stepped out, his expression softening. "She's stable," he said. "Severely dehydrated, a fractured leg, and bruised ribs. But she fought hard. She'll recover." The puppy barked excitedly, tail wagging wildly. The vet smiled. "And yes, she's his mother. She must have shielded him during the collapse." Mia exhaled, finally understanding the puppy's desperate courage. He hadn't stopped her car by accident. He stopped it to save his family. 3 days later, Mia returned to the animal hospital, unsure what to expect. The moment she stepped inside, a familiar bark echoed down the hallway. The tiny puppy sprinted toward her, skidding across the floor before leaping into her arms with uncontainable joy. Mia laughed, hugging him tightly. A nurse guided her to the recovery room where the mother dog rested on a soft blanket, her leg bandaged but her eyes bright and alert.